Hey, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and today I am on the Elizabeth Craft Designs blog with a cute reindeer Christmas card that I made using the Reindeer and Gifts clear stamp set. Super cute, you see it there. I am stamping one of the stamps from this set. It is the reindeer with birds and a present, I call it. And I'll be coloring him with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. So I have stamped this using VersaFine Onyx Black ink onto some Bristol Smooth cardstock. Bristol Smooth is my favorite, I don't know, medium? No, it's not a medium. Well, base on which to color with my Zigs because it helps those markers blend together really, really nicely. So it works very well for that. So if you have any issues with blending your Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, try Bristol. It's amazing. It will change your life. But anyway, so these birds, I started off with 36 light blue as the base color, and then I added shading with 36 cobalt blue. And then I'm blending them with my water brush that I'm just dipping in some water. It doesn't actually have water in the brush handle. And I'll go back and forth doing that a couple times just to get the right amount of shading going on these birds. I knew when I was coloring that I was going to use the pattern paper that you saw at the beginning as the background, so I wanted the objects to sort of match that. So this is olive green, and then this is pale green that I'm blending it out with. And then I'll be using a little bit of light green here to brighten it up just a little bit. That olive green is very olive, and the paper has an olive green on it, but it's not quite as olive as the marker. So the light green helped kind of brighten it a little bit. And I did the same thing on the ribbon. And then on the package, I'm using carmine red, and then I will do that on the ornaments on the tree, and then I'm going to use wine red for a little bit of shading on the package. But I knew that the paper had like aqua in it, so that's why I made the birds aqua. And this is 50 yellow for the star. And then for my deer, I'm starting out with oatmeal, which as you can see is a very like light brown. And then I'm going to add in some 65 mid brown for some shading. And then I'll blend that with my pen dipped in just a little bit of water. And you can see how nicely it blends together on the Bristol. It does a really nice job. But this was kind of too gray brown for me once I got this done. So I decided to add some 60 brown, which is a very red brown, as you will see here. And I'm kind of just scribbling it on to get just a little bit of texture. But really it smooths out pretty nicely with the little bit of water on my brush. And now I'm just adding additional shading with the mid brown, and you can see it's bleeding a little bit because of the water on the paper. And then I'm adding in a little more 60 brown, but that's okay. It's gonna all blend together pretty nicely because now I'm going to just use the oatmeal rather than using more water. I'm blending with the actual marker, which gives it kind of a more saturated color, which I wanted on this deer. So it's looking a little light up to this point, and it also helps prevent it from getting too wet. And then this is some dark oatmeal that I'm adding to the antlers and then blending again with the oatmeal to just give his antlers a little bit of shading. And then for his nose, I use 65 mid brown, and I'll use black for a tiny bit of shading and then blend that again with the mid brown. So it's kind of a combination of zigs blending into zigs as well as blending the zigs with some water as well. So it's kind of a combination coloring feature here. And this is a little more lemon or yellow on the ribbon. And now I'm going to add some shadow under where the package is and where he's standing, because I knew I wasn't going to cut him out. I was going to have him as a scene. So I'm just having him stand on the floor, and I wanted to give him a floor to stand on so it wasn't just floating. So that 91 light gray helped with that. And then now I'm just using my white glaze pen, which is a trick I use all the time, as you know if you've watched some of my videos, to clean up any areas where the coloring really got out of hand and went over the lines. Now this is some Tonic Nouveau Ruby slippers I added to drops that I added to the ornaments on the tree. And then this is some Jelly Roll Stardust Gold pen that I'm using on the ribbon and the package. And then this is the white glaze pen again to highlight the dots on the reindeer's back. And then I'm going to use my Spectrum Noir sparkle marker after I kind of touch up the gray down there at the bottom. The clear sparkle marker for his nose, and then the garland on the tree, because I have to and his tail too, because I have to have like sparkle on a Christmas card. I just have to do it. Well, really any card, but especially Christmas. And even though I didn't want too much on this, because really coloring was the feature of this, I had to have a little bit, right? You know. So my greeting that I'm stamping is Christmas dear, haha, to friends so near, or friends so dear. No, Christmas cheer to friends so dear, haha. So I am stamping it in Versamark Onyx, or Versamark ink, and then I'm going to heat emboss it in white embossing powder. So you can see how nicely the soft finish cardstock releases any extra embossing powder. Now there's a tiny bit I had to scrape off, but not much. The soft finish cardstock is great for that. It's like the best thing I've ever used for heat embossing in terms of not getting stuff where you don't need it. Now I have die cut out the reindeer image using the 4th largest die in the dotted scallop squares die set to give it a really cute little dotted finish there. And then this is the pattern paper that I knew I was using. It's from the Moda Scrap It's Christmas Time 6x6 paperback, and I've cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches to go on my A2 size top folding card base that you saw there. That is cut out of 100-pound white soft finish cardstock. So I'm going to adhere the pattern paper down to the front of the card base. It's the same size, and I'm using 10mm clear double-sided adhesive tape for that. And it just fits exactly on there. I did have to trim it just a hair. And now I'm going to cut a piece of fun foam to fit behind my reindeer panel to elevate him just a little bit off the front of the card for, you know, a little bit of extra dimension. And I'm using 6mm clear double-sided adhesive tape to adhere this fun foam down to the back of the reindeer panel. And then I will use the same thing to adhere that down to the front of the card as well. The fun foam can be a little tricky to get to stick well, but the tape does a great job with that. So there I am adhering him down to the front. And now I'm going to adhere my greeting in place, again with some 6mm double-sided adhesive tape just to the front. And it was at this point that I thought I was kind of missing something. So I decided to grab my glitter dots in red and gold and add 2 glitter dots to either side of the greeting for, you know, a little extra glittery goodness on a Christmas card. But it still felt like it was lacking something. So that's when I pulled out my 3mm double-sided adhesive tape and added it to the sides of the die cut square. Now when you die cut out a dotted scallop square, it embosses a line kind of on the inside of where the scallops are. So I am just following right along the edge of that line with the tape to get a nice square shape on the inside of that die cut shape. And I'm just pulling off the backing, and I'm going to pour some True Red Silk Microfine glitter all over the tape, so it'll stick to the tape, and then I'm just burnishing it down with my finger, so rubbing it with my finger to bring out the shine. And then I'll do that across the bottom part as well. And then I'm going to just brush off the excess with a soft brush to get it cleaned off. And then my corners didn't quite match up on 2 of the corners, so I used a quickie glue pen to just add a little dot of glue to the areas that weren't quite lining up, and I added glitter, and then I'm going to set that aside to dry for a little bit. And then once it's dry, I just clean it off and then rub it a little bit and just fix it a tiny bit with my tweezers. Just kind of move it around just to get those corners correct. And that is the completed card. And it's a nice touch of glitter on the edges. Now, if you go to the step out photos on the blog post, you will see that I do have that step earlier in the process because admittedly it would have been easier to do the glitter on that panel before I adhered it down. But, you know, I didn't think of it until the very end. So I did want to leave that in so you can see that, you know, card designs kind of evolve as you go, and you can always sort of add extra things even when you think you're done. So hopefully I've inspired you a little bit today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. As always, supplies are linked in the video description and over on the Elizabeth Crafts Designs blog and my blog as well. Here are 2 additional Christmas projects I have done in the past if you're interested. And thanks so much. Have a great day.